Yoy Falls. If you're thinking about it, we're talking about it. Rizzo and Jeff. Radio 95.1.
It is Rizzo and Jeff, Radio 95.1. If you would like tickets to Almost Queen, we have a couple extra pairs. Text Freddie Me to 222-9500. Now, I'm a little upset with you guys because when we were doing the JNN, Jeff, I said two things. And they were sayings that my grandmom always used to say to me. And there's actually a couple more that I have, but I said two things. I said, one, things are getting too spicy for the pepper. You said you've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Okay.
Nobody's ever heard of it.
Well,
not just me.
Then I said, don't take a ride on the Silver Slinky because it eventually hits the bottom of the stairs and always stops. Again, I don't appreciate the Gam Gam has dementia.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Well, here's the problem: is that you're saying these sayings that your Gam Gam told you, and you're trying to make it seem like these are common sayings that everybody has heard. Neither of them have been used in the lexicon of America ever.
That's not true, and I actually have heard this one in a friend's house too. How about this? You can boil an onion all you want, but it'll always stick to the strainer.
What does that have to do with anything?
You know when you boil spaghetti and it doesn't stick to the strainer, you can put it back in, make spaghetti?
Right, okay.
You boil an onion, well, it's always going to stick to the strainer, meaning you could try to fit a square peg into a round hole, but at the end of the day, it's not going to come out right.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Do you want me to get her on the phone?
No, I don't want
All
you
right,
to.
then stop calling my Gam Gam stupid.
Let's not. I'm just saying, I'm not calling her stupid. I just don't want her on the phone. She seems to be losing it a little bit.
All right, listen.
How old is she now? 90.
She's 91.
Okay.
Could somebody help? Listen.
So what is the onion one again? I don't even.
You can boil an onion all you want, but it's always going to stick to the strainer.
But what does that have to do with anything? Who cares?
I explain it to you. So basically, it's sort of like her way of saying it's square peg in a round hole. So you can boil an onion like you can boil spaghetti. Right? But it's going to stick to the strainer, whereas the spaghetti falls right out.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But who cares if it sticks to the strainer or not?
The point is that it's not supposed to be boiled.
But you can boil onion.
You can, but it will always stick to the strainer. Whereas,
am I losing it here, folks? 222-9500. Can you help me? Do these make any sense to you? Am I missing it altogether?
These are from my childhood. How about this one? With the and she used to say this because she didn't want us to argue outside. With the flowers in bloom and the bees a buzzing, always remember a bee dies every time I catch you fussing.
Why are bees dying?
That's, again, this one I think, she made up when we were kids to keep us from arguing. But I would always argue with my cousin Peter. And my Gam Gam would say...
So she would just break out like a Seuss
I don't know
on the porch?
Well, she would say, remember, with the flowers in bloom and the bees are a-buzzing, always remember, a bee dies when you guys are fussing. Now, I know that she couldn't have come up with something like that, so she had to have heard it from somewhere.
A bee dies when you're fussing?
No,
why does a bee die?
When the flowers are in bloom and the bees are a-buzzing, always remember, a bee dies when you're fussing.
See, if she made this up, this is what you have to understand, Gam Gam. Nobody cares if a bee dies. You're not saying, oh, my God, I'm going to kill the bee. I better stop fussing. You want the bees dead. Nobody likes a bee.
Okay, that's not the point. It was to say that
scare you?
To scare us into arguing because she didn't want us fussing. Okay. So remember, with the flowers in bloom and the bees a-buzzing, always remember a bee dies when you're fussing.
Okay.
Right? And
please give me more Gam Gam. These are great.
Okay.
Who's boiling onions into a strainer? Are you in distress?
No. Listen, okay, first off, this started out with me saying one saying and Jeff saying it didn't exist. And
it doesn't exist.
No,
None of these exist.
They do exist because they've been said to me.
Okay.
So they had to have existed. And again, it started out with things are getting too spicy for the pepper and don't take a ride on the Silver Slinky because it eventually hits the bottom of the stairs and stops. Then I said, you know what? There are more that and there was actually like about 6 or 7 that stuck to my head.
Sounds like you guys are from a different part of Pennsylvania. Okay.
Okay. You know what? Look, maybe...
Nobody's worried about it.
But the point is not the death of a bee.
So
the point is with the and I remember she would always, it would be me, Peter, Carly, and Daniel, maybe Jonathan.
Was your Gam Gam Yogi Berra in a former life? Why is she Yogi?
My Gam's been around since before Yogi. Yeah. But she would always say, remember, the flowers are in bloom and the bees are a-buzzing, but a bee will die if I catch you fussing. So
sounds like Gam Gam was cooking with magic mushrooms.
Guys, this is my grandmother. Stop making fun of her. I'm afraid to even give you any more of her sayings. Maybe. Okay, fine.
Okay.
How about this? It's getting icy in the hacienda. Everyone's heard something like that before.
It's getting icy in the hacienda?
It is.
What does it have to do with anything?
Radio 95.
Isn't that in the Philippines? I don't know anything about the hacienda.
It's getting icy in this hacienda. Okay. Getting icy.
Sounds like dementia.
Guys, this is my Gam Gam.
Okay. All right.
So what she meant, and she actually says this, to this day, when something happens, okay, and, you have that awkward silence. Well, it's getting a little icy inside this hacienda. And my grandfather, stationed in the Philippines during the war,
all right.
Okay, out there by, in the Navy.
Okay, well, maybe that's something that I can briefly understand, right? Like, I get that. That one I can get a little bit. There's some correlation, even if she made it up for her own.
She didn't make it up.
It's getting icy in this hacienda.
It's getting icy in the hacienda.
Okay, all right.
Okay, it's getting icy in the hacienda. So you haven't heard that one either?
No, I have not.
If they have to be explained, Gam Gam's doing. It's not that they have to be explained. It's that Jeff seems to not understand. And if you're just tuning in, before I give you the last one, because I'm really tired of people making fun of my Gam Gam. When we were doing the JNN, he was talking about the Chrysleys. And I said, well, don't take a ride on the Silver Slinky because it eventually, like my grandmom says, hits the bottom of the stairs and stops. You said, I've never heard that. I said,
no. Nobody has. Not just me. You can just forget me. I'm talking about everybody else in Rochester and on God's green earth. Nobody has heard that one before. And then you hit me with a pepper one.
I said things are getting too spicy for the pepper.
Never heard of it.
Which is wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, maybe it's not. Never heard any of these. Let me see here.
I think Gam Gam is smoking left-handed cigs. Yeah, like, I know. I don't want it to come across as I'm being rude to Gam Gam because I love Gam Gam, but this is really, really bizarre. Okay?
I mean, this is a good one. I've heard this. Think the rain will hit the rhubarb, not if it's in cans. I mean, that's a good one. I agree with that.
Think the rain will hit the rhubarb. What is it?
Say that again?
What? Something about hitting the rhubarb? What is it?
If you think the rain will hit the rhubarb, it'll definitely hit the cans.
I don't know where you people were raised.
We grew up from like.
I understand, but Gam Gam, and this is when you were kids, 90, 25 years ago.
Listen, she's a nice person. And my Gam Gam is not doing drugs. My Gam, again.
Okay, now
it's
here's
just as
one.
an example. Like I said, think the rain will hit the rhubarb, not if it's in cans. So It is what it is.
Somebody said my grandmother used to say that's as useless as a fart in a mitten.
There you go.
Now, what does that mean?
A fart in a mitten. See?
What does that mean?
Well,
what does a fart in a mitten mean?
It means nothing. It's a fart inside of a mitten is totally useless. That's the.
Why?
See?
Why is it useless?
What could you do with a fart in a mitten?
What do you do with a fart in general?
Well, the point is it's useless, right?
The statement's useless.
If you don't understand, you're just being anti-grandma right now. I don't know.
I'm not being anti-granny. I'm not.
Well, you could say what you want. I mean, G from Rochester's backing me up. I mean, but that's the point. That's as useless.
Where on earth is Gam Gam from?
Actually, she grew up in coal country.
Okay.
When there was coal in PA before that big fire thing happened.
Okay.
All
right. Isn't that where Biden grew up?
Yeah, right around there.
Okay.
They were born around the same time. See, somebody said hurt the rhubarb, Grandpa always said. Right? Let me see. Yeah, nope. You definitely blocked here. All right, so Gam Gam, I'm only going to give you one more because you know why? You guys have been real mean.
Okay.
Hear me out. Because my grandfather always loved his pocket watch. All right? Mm-hmm. All right. So my grandmother always used to say, George, okay? George, there's never too many uses for a pocket watch, but only one use for a Swiss Army knife.
But there's not one use for a Swiss Army knife.
That's your opinion.
There's several uses for a Swiss Army knife. Isn't that the whole allure of the Swiss Army knife, that you could use it for many different things?
There are many, well, she would say, George, there's never too many uses for a pocket watch, but there's only one use for a Swiss Army knife.
Look, George, God rest his soul.
Yep,
Your grandpa.
Good man.
I think he left the world a little confused, and it wasn't his fault.
Well, if you're just tuning in, here are GAM GAM sayings. I'm just going to say them. Say what you will about them, but I love...
They're hers, yes.
Listen, things are getting too spicy for the pepper. Don't take a ride on the Silver Slinky because it eventually hits the bottom of the stairs and stops. You can boil an onion all you want, but it's always going to stick to the strainer. With the flowers in bloom and the bees a-buzzing, remember, bees die when you're fussing. There's never too many uses for a pocket watch, but only one use for a Swiss Army knife. And finally, it's getting icy inside of this hacienda. Those are the things that I grew up learning.
Okay.
These are the things that my Gam Gam taught me, and I'm going to teach my children.
Yep. Confuse your kids. That's it. They're going to look at them like they're crazy.
You honestly have not heard even one of them. Not even it's getting icy in this hacienda.
I feel like maybe the pepper one, but other than that,
things are getting too spicy for the pepper.
I didn't run in Gam Gam circles. And what a magical place it must have been.
She is a magical lady.
Yes, she is.
My Gam Gam does not do drugs, and no, she doesn't have dementia, okay?
Right.
So listen, just stop right now. Everyone calm down. Okay, things are getting a little spicy for the pepper, right?
Happy holidays, Gam Gam.
Rizzo and Jeff on Radio 95.1.
Okay, Jeff. If you're a fan of the NBA, just like we are, it is getting started, and so are all of the incredible offers at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Now, right now, everyone can get boosted winnings with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays, and DraftKings has their biggest payouts ever, so why bet anywhere else?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's where the money's at when you're dialing up those parlays, right? We're talking like what teams are going to win, player props, point totals. I mean, tonight, looking at a game, Brooklyn going to Philly, Ben Simmons returning back. Guess what? Sixers, they're hurting. Right? So when you're, looking at the game, you go, okay, over under 217. I don't think the Sixers could put up enough points. I'm going with the under there. DraftKings Sportsbook, it's where you go when you're betting on the NBA, for sure.
That's it. So all you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Right now, new customers can sign in with promo code Radio951, place a stepped-up same-game parlay to boost your winnings up to 100% only at the DraftKings Sportsbook.
Must be 21 and up and physically present in New York. One boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. 10+ legs required for 100% boost. Parlay and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369.
And remember, you can boil in an onion all you want, but it'll always stick to the strainer.
Yeah, don't forget it.